All right. Good morning, Jimmy.
Hey, Johnny.
How we doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good. So we've got some extra faces in the room today.
Yeah, man.
Really special guests. We're gonna let them introduce themselves. We'll start with Devon, and then we'll go Jeff, and then we'll go back to you, Jimmy.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, Devon.
Oh, good to be here, guys. I'm Devon Price. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kinetic.
Right on.
We got some Kinetics right here.
Yeah. So really cool. We're well known for our energy drink consumption around here.
Yeah.
And every once in a while we like to find something a little different. Jimmy brought some of these in. Probably a month and a half ago, maybe.
Quite a while. No, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big Cletus fan. So when he started driving the Kinetic car, I was like, I got to see what these things are. So I ordered them off of Amazon and shared them. And to be fair, back then, with the ketones, and I hope you guys really dive deep into this stuff, but the ketones are pretty bitter. And Jeff brought me some samples of the new versions, and it's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your text you sent me right away.
Yeah.
So
I'm ready to crack one, Johnny.
Yeah, and I was out of town, so I didn't get one. So
I drank them all.
Yeah, rude, but I'm excited for this one. Everybody got one?
Jeff has one, yeah.
I've got the orange cranberry. Jimmy, what do you have?
Orange cranberry.
All right.
I have the orange cranberry also. I just told him,
Cool.
Devin, I was been fiending on this, so I just shared that. But we have
Yeah,
all of the flavors with us, and we have our shots.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So again, like Jimmy kind of mentioned, the first time it was a little bitter. This cleaned up nice.
Yeah.
So the new formula is working. I like it.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Yeah. We're constantly tweaking it, getting better and better. We got that orange cranberry is a limited time release. So we like to experiment every season with a new one. And each time I think it gets better and better.
nice. Yeah, the first thing I notice on the can, my scan immediately goes to no caffeine. So I am very, unfortunately, dependent on caffeine. So I'm excited to see what this can do for me without some. I'm excited for that part because I need to probably cut some back.
Yeah.
We joke all the time about nowhere near, fatal limits, but I'm sure I could probably do with a little less.
Substitutes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
So the power of these is the ketones, which I know it's been over the years. We've seen raspberry ketones and green coffee ketones and all these ketones. What's special about Kinetic?
So I think Devin would be best to answer that question. But I'll tell you, as far as the caffeine goes, I was drinking like 6 shots of espresso,
Mm-hmm.
and in the morning, and a lot of caffeine all day. And I drink absolutely 0 caffeine right now.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to give it up completely, but I do like the idea of significantly less. So that's cool.
Challenge accepted, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Devin, like I said, Jimmy kind of hit on it, right? I'm sure you guys deal with a lot of the former, kind of bad science and the bad marketing behind some of this stuff. So what is it that makes Kinetic and its ketone, proprietary stuff different?
Well, Kinetic's got bioidentical ketones. Raspberry ketones aren't actually the same energy source that your body makes when you're fasting, but Kinetic is the exact energy source that your body naturally makes when you're fasting on a ketogenic diet. We evolved millions of years to use ketones, but we lost it when during the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago when we started having food available all the time.
Gotcha. Okay. Dig it. Yeah, because like I said, I was reading through some of the literature that Jeff brought. Real cool stuff, and I'm excited to dive in a little bit more into that too with this. So, we talked about the Cletus car. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Probably an unlikely pairing up from, the outside looking in, but how'd you guys get involved with him?
Heck yeah. Well, we got involved with him because through Roman Atwood, actually, if you know him, he joined the company. He found Kinetic and was like, wow, this is different. And those guys are friends, and so Roman shared Kinetic with Cletus, and he was like, heck yeah, I want to be a part of this.
Cool.
He operates at 180 miles an hour all day long.
Yeah.
If you got to be sharp, your reaction time's got to be right, your decision making's got to be right, and so your brain's got to be right. And if your brain if you want to get your brain right, you got to fuel it right, and that's where Kinetic comes in.
Dig it. Yeah, Jeff and I were talking before the podcast. We had a couple minutes while I was setting up, and he hit on that really heavy with a subject I'm sure is near and dear to y'all's heart, and that's that Matt Hughes video that he shared. I wish I was capable of like putting it in here. I'll get there one day. But really cool. Again, if you could kind of highlight how that whole process went, because the video is incredible. Like it really is cool. If you're an MMA fan and you have been for a long time, everybody should know who Matt Hughes is, and knowing what he's been through and where he's making it to is pretty awesome. And it's really cool to know that you guys have kind of been a little part of that. So if you can tell us a little bit more about that too, I'd love to hear it.
Heck yeah. So, yeah, if you don't know who Matt Hughes is, 9-time world champion, UFC Hall of Fame. In 2017, he was in an accident. His truck got hit by a train, and he had severe brain damage. He was in a coma for a while. By all accounts, he shouldn't have survived, but he did. He's Matt Hughes.
Yeah.
And he so he's been on a recovery journey since then. He's made a heck of a lot of progress. It's kind of plateaued, but we connected with him in his research for how to continue his recovery, and we brought him into the Great Team, which is an organization in Florida, work with veterans who are at risk for suicide. And they've got a world-class brain health and recovery center. And so we brought him in and did some brain scans with him. And after drinking Kinetic, his brain lit up, and in a way that it just hadn't in a long time. The reason is, we think, because associated with TBI, you end up with an energy crisis. Your brain cannot use glucose for fuel as effectively, but ketones bypass that bottleneck. So Kinetic gives his brain cells the resources it needs, the energy that it needs to light up.
Yeah, it was cool. The brain scan that it showed in the video, there's a lot of numbers that were really cool hearing the doctor talk about it. Awesome. And then it showed the side by side of before and after, and there was literally, as he said, like the blue represents like it can't pick up any activity. And then it showed that after scan, and it's just bright red, in the center of the brain there where most of that function happens, I guess. But the coolest part for me was when you hear Matt talk at the end, and he says, I feel smarter. Because like Jeff and I were talking about earlier, like there was a time not too long ago, I don't think Matt would have sounded anything close to that. There would have been.
So
go ahead, Jeff.
he basically has a little bit of a stammer, not terrible, but not great. And the first thing that I noticed is when our partner Cliff looked at him, he said, they were talking about the fact that before when they did the EEG, his neurons were firing at 9. And then post EEG or post drinking Kinetic after 2 hours, it was firing at 20, which is even better than somebody in a typical developed brain in his age set. So it was incredible. And then Cliff said to him, like, hey, how do you feel? And he kind of smirked, and he looked, because he's really funny. And he smirked at us, and he looked, and he was like, I feel smarter already. And then we just laughed. And then when we got in the hall, I whispered to Cliff, like, did you hear what he said? He goes, yeah. He said he feels smarter already. But the truth of the matter is, all of a sudden it hit Cliff, and he looked back at me, and he goes, oh my God. And then when we talked to the girl who's with him, she noticed also, because he said, I feel better already. And there was zero stutters, zero stammers, there was no break in time between the question. Like, there wasn't just thinking about it. Like, while going through hearing the results, there was, honestly, it's usually just me that's balling, but there was not a dry eye in the room. It was incredible outcome.
So now, is this just after like one drink, or was this after a protocol of?
No, this was after he drank 20 grams of ketones, and they waited 2 hours to do the test.
Okay.
And now he's on a regimen of ketones, drinking Kinetic every single day, and he goes back every 30 days, and he's tested. And I know that he is dreading it, but in 6 months they want to see him stop.
Yeah.
just to see what happens. But
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible. We have another friend that he's 75 or 76, and he is a dear friend to me, and I gave him Kinetic and drinking it, and he's like, Jeff, he's like, I have to tell you, he said, I after about 2 weeks, he says to me, I feel the energy. I feel like I'm, getting up easier. I feel better, which has to deal with the mitochondria and other stuff that Devon will probably talk about in a minute. But he said, but I feel a little sharper. And I said to him, Ken, did you read any of the literature I gave? Because
Drink it, yeah, let's drink it. Okay.
so, but it's really, really terrific.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Devon for getting that screen share up.
Yep.
He's better at this than me already.
Yeah.
That's not good. We'll have to figure that out.
Well,
That's a cool button.
Really exciting because, I'll share with Jeff, we our people here at the villages, naturally with age decline, you have cognitive decline along with it, just in general. But we have a lot of people that have gone through strokes and, countless other neurological diseases. Like how can this help? And if it can help, what's the harm? Either way, that's kind of the way I look at it.
So I'll tell you, and I'm going to actually let Devon field that question, but I'm going to share with everybody that because I snore, which who knew, 7 or 8 months ago, I had 2 punctate strokes.
Yep.
And it screwed me up for a little while. Now, thank God, you can't really even see them on an MRI. But I definitely believe that drinking the Kinetic has really helped me dramatically. And
Yeah.
I think that the doctors there also kind of feel like there's something happening because you can't eat. When you have a stroke, you could see that part of the brain dies. It doesn't come back.
Right.
And mine were so tiny, which is why they're called punctate, but now you can't even see them. And I don't know if that's from this or not, but Kinetic definitely made me feel much better very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and I have no idea where there's a meter match, but definitely what you said, with like, what is it, like 70,000 homes here in the villages and, growing, they're going to double over the next like 6 years. It's going to double. There's going to be more and more people here. And I believe that much like Ken and others, my neighbors and people like that, I believe that Kinetic is going to be able to make a big impact here.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And not only for that, just people in general going to the gym, being ketosis. So
Yeah.
Devon, I don't know if you'd like to make comment on that or talk a little bit
Yeah,
more.
kind of all the benefits of ketones, honestly. I mean, Johnny and I, we'll take the brain benefits. We could definitely use it.
Yeah.
But, all the benefits of ketones would be great.
Yeah. So on your point about, aging and cognitive decline, there's a lot of real interesting research. There's one study published just 8 or 9 months ago by the National Academies of Sciences that found that between the ages of 40 and 60, there's this critical window where your brain ages in a nonlinear way. It falls off a cliff. And they discovered this by a review of 19,000 fMRI brain scans. And what's happening is network stability in your brain, which is a measure of brain function, it's how the regions of your brain communicate together. It basically deteriorates between the ages of 40 and 60.
All those for Johnny.
Yeah, dang it.
Bad news for me. Yeah. Bad news. I got this when I was 55. It's 7 now. I'm like, a couple earlier there, Dev.
Yeah, I'm on the early end of it, but I can feel it. I'm barely holding it together. You guys saw me set this thing up. They're cool. Okay.
Yeah, and they found that it's correlated to the rise in HbA1c, which essentially means that that's correlated with insulin sensitivity. So what's happening is your brain again is not able to use its normal source of fuel, glucose, as efficiently, and so you end up with underfueled brain cells. And when they're not when your brain cells aren't getting the actual fuel that it needs, they don't work as well. They also found that when you supplement with ketones, it returns your brain to that more youthful-like state. It restores the brain network stability. And the other amazing thing is that in animal studies, they modeled dementia and Alzheimer's and found that if you intervene in that window, it works outside of that window, but just not as well. You delay or prevent altogether the progression of Alzheimer's. and dementia.
So Devin, what you're saying,
because-
it's for me at 57 years old, if I just figure out all of the Kinetic that I would have had to have drank in my early years up to 57 and slam all of that down, it might help me more.
It's worth a try. It's worth a try.
That load.
Go on. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think you're good as long as you're giving your brain the fuel source that it needs. Your neurons, your brain cells are going to function appropriately, and it's going to prevent that decline. We've come to think of cognitive decline as a normal process associated with aging, but in fact, it seems to be a fueling problem. So Kinetic feeds your brain in a way that it needs to be fed. So, and the underlying that kind of insulin sensitivity, that decline in our ability to use glucose, of course, is our diets. When we're exposed to refined carbohydrates, sugars all day, every day, our cells get tired. Basically, our metabolism gets tired, and we lose the ability to use glucose as effectively. I mentioned earlier that we evolved over millions of years to use ketones. There's a natural kind of cycling that our metabolism is accustomed to, which is switching from glucose to ketones. So that switch is actually, and this gets back to more of the benefits of ketones. That switch basically strengthens your metabolism, similar to a workout. It stresses it just a little bit to make it stronger, and that triggers antioxidant pathways. It triggers anti-inflammatory pathways. So not only are ketones fantastic as a fuel for your brain, they also condition your metabolism, and they improve recovery by reducing that inflammation. They protect your cells by reducing oxidative stress and the damage that causes to adjacent cells, and also triggers more inflammation. And we know that the inflammation is at the root of so many chronic conditions. So really what we're doing by incorporating ketones into our nutrition strategy is getting back to the way our metabolism naturally evolved and fueling it correctly.
Devin, let me ask you a question. Can you just address the fact that it's not really an energy drink, although it gives you a lot of energy, obviously, and why that is? And, look, I come to Genesis Clubs every single day, just about, and I cannot get a parking space. And the third one opening up, this place is packed like from morning until night.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
an incredible gym. The equipment here is incredible. The staff, everybody here, it's an amazing gym. And I'm not saying that because I'm here. I've been going to the gym my whole life, but whether people work out or not working out, can you just talk about the energy? Can you talk about mitochondria and maybe explain a little bit more about all of that and everything else that Kinetic can do for people, whether they're going to the gym that day or not going to the gym that day?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah. So sure, we come to think of energy drinks are associated with caffeine.
Yep.
And so that's why we say it's really not an energy drink. While ketones are a source of energy, they're not a stimulant. Ketones are a nutrient. So that's where the distinction lies. So in that sense, it's not an energy drink. It is a source of fuel of energy for your cells, more so than what we know as energy drinks are, because caffeine just stimulates your central nervous system. It blocks adenosine, tricks your mind into thinking that you're not tired. And the crash from caffeine comes from when it wears off all that adenosine, which is your sleep signal rushes in. So, uh, it's fundamentally different in that way. It's not a stimulant; it's a nutrient.
Cool. Okay. That's easy. Yeah. I mean, easy enough to explain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay. You kind of mentioned it earlier, right? Anytime we present something to our clients, right, they love to hear the benefits, but they always go, yeah, but what else does it do? What are the downsides? So far it doesn't sound like there really could be one of, but I'm interested if there's something that you found that we would have to, like, okay, this is great for these 10 things, but one thing maybe. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the nice thing is there really aren't any downsides. I mean, you think of ketones like you think of carbohydrates or fats or proteins at the essentially at the macronutrient. So, there are downsides if you eat too many carbohydrates, too much fat, too much protein. But it's not gonna cause, bad side effects. You have to drink a lot of ketones for it to be a problem.
That's what I
And
was
I'm
thinking,
saying
guys. If there's too many,
and
man.
I'm saying, like, yeah, like 100 grams every day, all day long, uh, it it could raise the acidity of your blood, which, um, can become a problem for other reasons, but, yeah, just day to day, having even 6 cans of Kinetic in a day is not gonna be
Okay, dig it.
You're speaking Johnny and I's language.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, so 98 is okay.
Yeah.
Dig it. All right. I'm listening. Yeah.
So now, being that this is, the ketones, looking at that as a nutrient, as a fuel source, is there like an ideal time? Like if you're going to drink one a day, is there an ideal time
Mhm.
or place, or, like what would be the ideal situation?
If you're gonna have one a day, I mean, I would have one in the afternoon as a replacement for that 6 cup of coffee, or the energy drinks, because you're gonna feel sharp, and it's gonna protect your sleep. Ketones do not, they don't mess with your sleep. You don't have that tax associated with it, so, the benefits from that perspective compound. You're gonna wake up feeling fresher and need less caffeine, to compensate for the fact that you didn't sleep well last night because you had an energy drink at 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
So,
What'd you tell him
and that's
about
a
me,
good
Jim?
place. That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So and I know, Dev, that you know this, but people move to the villages to retire, to play golf, to live their best life. They're growing. There's more squares, music, dancing, but also obviously with age comes other things. Unfortunately, issues with sugar, cancer. People with cancer obviously are told to live, a keto diet because cancer feeds on sugar. And then
Or just am I getting
are you getting
a little bit of a choppy,
okay?
choppy audio there?
So what I was saying, can you hear me clearer now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so what I was saying is that people move to the villages to live their best life, to play golf. I mean, there's like 60 golf courses and everyone's driving around in golf carts and they go to the squares at night to dance and obviously, talk about what I wanted to ask you to do is, because people come here to live the rest of their lives and enjoy retirement, obviously medical issues, sugar issues, sometimes cancer and stuff like that come. So I wanted to ask if you could just touch on a little bit of that, um, and explain why ketones may help some of that or be a good part of helping that. That's a good question for you.
Oh, heck yeah. You mentioned golf. That's another great time to drink Kinetic on the back nine when you need to when your reactions and you need to stay steady, but you need to be able to focus well. Um, have a Kinetic. That's a great time. Um, again, as we age, the benefits of fueling yourselves in the way that they need to be and maintaining that keep that energy level, uh, the nutritional it's just station. Um,
You're breaking up a little bit, Devin. Jimmy, does your signal look good over there?
I can't see.
Oh, gotcha. I think it was Chad coming in here blocking all the Wi-Fi.
Those giant biceps.
Yeah, those bicep veins soak up Wi-Fi like crazy. Let's see. Jimmy's gonna try to.
Yeah, I'm good. I got full bars.
Okay. Who knows? Maybe there's like a solar wave or something.
Dev, maybe you could start over. I'm sorry. Can you hear us? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I just noticed I've got I've got audio on my computer and my phone, so I just went on mute. You guys can still hear me?
Oh, perfect.
Sound great. Yeah.
Perfect.
Crystal clear.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So the question was as we get older, what are the benefits?
Yeah, like saying people who have sugar issues, and then people who unfortunately get cancer and told to live a keto diet, and then just basic focus and things like that. And also, I wanted you to mention what happens with your mitochondria also.
Oh yeah. So ketones are again they are very helpful to keeping your metabolism working effectively, working like it should. So that comes through, like I mentioned, reducing inflammation, reducing oxidative stress, protecting your cells. It also improves the efficiency, the respiration of your mitochondria. So your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, that's where the energy is produced, can function effectively. And so if you're protecting your cells, you're protecting the foundation, the building blocks uh of life. So so at the very root of you know your at the very root of your body's function, your metabolism is the fuel that you give it. As we get older, ketones are very helpful in maintaining the resilience and the health at a cellular level.
Nice. Yeah, I've got a client
Cancer-
I've ordering this today.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got a client that's had some pretty significant decline from cancer and the treatment associated with it. He's like just constantly kind of riddled with brain fog. Like that's his
Yep.
biggest thing he wants gone is that brain fog. And as the longer we've talked about this, the more I've decided like I'm gonna make sure he winds up with a case of this on the way to the house this weekend because I think he could benefit massively from this. And again, just hearing every little piece so far, it's like another spot that fills in like every little thing I'm seeing that he could benefit from.
Mhm.
All of these are hitting every one of those buttons. So it's really exciting to see this where we can really kind of plug it in with some of our clients right off the bat.
Yeah.
And not only get them, drinking this, but getting them on a path to a little bit better version of what they're looking for. So I like that.
Well, I think too, if people can understand, like you're saying, there's so much refined carbohydrates that we consume, and we basically we're keeping that one light switch on all the time. That's a glucose switch, and we're not utilizing the other switches where we're breaking down fats and utilizing ketones like we would back in the day, where we maybe eat a saber-toothed tiger and then
Right.
not eat for the next several days or weeks. So having these ketones is like not only for its benefits, but also like an education piece. Like ketones are what you need if you don't eat carbohydrates all the time.
Yeah.
And you want this variability in your cells and your mitochondria to keep it healthy, right?
Yep. Yeah, because we meet a lot of clients that they're already on a low carb or no carb diet. They're doing what they can with it. And then they start the gym and they realize that like they don't have a lot of energy. They don't have a lot of fuel because, carbs have been kind of demonized over the last little bit. And again, if we've got an option that then provides some sort of a fuel source while we are, lowering that intake and really cleaning out some of those refined sugars, I think that'd be a really nice, building block for that. Like, hey, listen, this is what happens. This is what our body's supposed to do in the absence of those. And then this will kind of get us back on that track.
Yeah.
So really cool way to implement this, like you said, as a nutrient, not just a beverage to sip on.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. And it's, and like you said, carbohydrates have been demonized, but they are really important. You need carbohydrates, particularly for intense exercise, intense work. The the ideal way to use ketones is to, particularly if it's before a workout, combine it. Don't replace carbohydrates with ketones. You want to, moderate carbohydrates, no refined sugars or, processed carbohydrates. There's, nothing good about that. But combine it with ketones and you'll have the fuel your muscles need to do the work, and you'll have the fuel your brain needs to command the rest of your body to do the work.
Nice. Yeah, that's a cool little two-piece because, like I said, we do have to. It's unfortunately the word just carb has been attached to everything bad.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's those processed carbs. It's that processed sugar. It's that disgusting stuff that pretends to be just carbs. But when we look at eating a few vegetables a day, getting your fruits in, those are going to help fuel those higher intensity moments for sure. But then, like you said, kind of filling in those waves of up and down between that, ketones are what we probably are biologically supposed to be using.
Right.
And we've just gotten into such a state of abundance that our body has, like you said, flipped that switch off and we don't know where it's at.
Yeah. And I'm sure a really good addition to like somebody that's going with a low carb or no carb, like keto flu. I know I tried keto many years ago and I got like 3 days in and I felt like I had the flu and I was like, oh my God, this is awful. And basically it was just like that time where my body's just getting used to like producing ketones and using them. Like, would this be a good addition to that for somebody going low carb if they were choosing to?
Yeah, it really would, because there's that transition when you're feeling sick with the keto flu, your body's getting used to that state, and it's not able to produce its own ketones as effectively and as quickly as your body might need. It takes several days often, and so it's a real good strategy to help kind of bridge that gap. Kinetic also has electrolytes in it. You need electrolytes during that transition to stay hydrated. So it's a real helpful tool if you're going through that process. And the other just quick thing relevant that I wanted to mention is that ketones naturally help to moderate your blood glucose level. So you'll see that after a meal, when your blood glucose spikes, and it's those spikes that are really the challenge. You spike your glucose level, insulin rushes in to compensate, and then you crash because suddenly your blood glucose level is really low because of all of that insulin. Um, ketones ketones level it out. Essentially, it'll keep it from spiking, keep it from crashing, and that's the same when for people who are going through cancer treatment. Getting back to that point, glucose, sugar feeds cancer cells. Ketones starve it. So what you want to do is really keep your keep your blood sugar levels low, so you're starving the cancer cells, but at the same time fueling them with ketones, which cancer cells typically cannot use
That's
as energy.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Taking this. So my dad takes insulin, every day, a small dose of insulin. And what he said to me is that he's noticed now, like if he sits down and has well, kind of funny, but if he sits down at the TV and he has crackers and cheese and he's testing his insulin and his alarm doesn't go off because he's got that alarm in his arm. And so he pretty much takes all the Kinetic in my house.
Yeah. Right. Well, I know we are up,
But it is definitely helping him.
Yeah.
I like that. We're up against a little bit of a time wall here. I want to make sure everybody gets off and gets to what they need to do next on time. So if I've got somebody that's super interested in Kinetic, they want it right now, where can we pick this up, or how easy is it to get ordered and sent to the house?
Super easy to get it ordered. We'll deliver it obviously to your door at drinkkinetic.com.
Okay, I'll put that link in the the description too.
And just
Yeah.
just aside from that, I just want to just show them here.
Yeah.
So we have shots now, which are very easily shipped, and they're delicious. You can take them just easy. It's just a matter of what you prefer. For myself, I like to drink a shot in the morning because I'll roll out of bed, take a shot. It's harder to get it canned out when you first wake up. Drive to the gym, train, and then I'll drink probably 1 or 2 cans of Kinetic throughout the day. And hopefully, Jimmy and I are working on having it here at Genesis. And
I'm pushing hard.
yeah,
I like
and,
it, yeah.
and if and hopefully when that is happening, we want to provide, you know, educational seminars for people here so they could truly understand what they're putting in their body, because let's face it, you're putting it in your body.
Yeah.
You know, and we want people to
And
understand.
they want to be careful, you know, just off the can, you know, no aspartame, sucralose, like that's the first thing people look for. And
Absolutely.
it's kind of funny. They roll through McDonald's, but they'll scrutinize
Everybody
with that.
Kinetic is super pumped to be partnering with Genesis.
That's awesome.
Clubs, and we're grateful to be here. So thank you for having us.
No, thank you guys. We're looking forward to it.
How much time you have, Johnny?
I'm good till like
Jeff, you have more
12.
time?
I'm good.
Okay.
All
I
right.
know Devin, you got to roll out. But I got Jeff's pretty interesting dude. I like to.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So Devin, if you got a dip, no big deal. We can keep it running. But thank you for your time. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Devin.
Yeah. Really excited.
It was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I'm like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow morning?
Yeah. That Jimmy texted me at like 9. I was like, yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't miss it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye,
I
Devin.
think there's like he's better at that than me. I don't like that. He's good at this thing. He shared a screen. He dipped out. I didn't have to tell him how to do it.
Yeah.
He is the whole team. Like, it's just, you know, look, we all know it. Yeah, everybody has to meet people that they gel with and things like that. But like you know, met you guys, it's really great. But Devin, the whole crew, man. When Cliff called me, you know, we had another beverage that was pretty big in the industry originally, but that had caffeine in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Cliff called me and he was like, Jeff, we are going to save people. I swear on my dogs, man. He said, Jeff, we're going to save people's lives. And had the director of sales have been on this call, I don't remember the exact thing that happened with his daughter at like 9, but they had tried everything and they were just trying to manage pain. And maybe you'll grab him and it'll be a guest at some point, but she's now 13 and the ketones made a huge difference. And they were told that originally that they wouldn't work, and nobody with Kinetic, I mean, but in one day, this man he's a lot of faith. And in one day, 3 people called him and said, hey, what about ketones? What about ketones? What about ketones?
Oh, wow.
My daughter's now 13, living a typical life and doing great.
That's so cool.
It's a crazy story. I wish he was here to tell it, but yeah.
And that's not something you would initially think. Like I think surface level people see this as like, you shouldn't give this to kids.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
is it safe or whatever? But
So Kinetic kids for kids too. It's dynamite. You know, think about what you saw on the screen with Matt Hughes' brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not. I was supposed to do it the same day that Matt was getting his brain scanned, get an EEG, but I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
Am I gonna get my brain? Like Matt Hughes. Yeah. So it's Matt Hughes. It's like an idol for me. But everybody else is, you know, all the other people had their brain scanned. Lots of people have. If you guys wanted to come down to South Florida, great team, you could too. And
let's do it.
And check it out.
I'd be afraid of what I find.
If you think about how ketones really energize your brain in the proper dose, and that I'd have to get from Devin. I don't know what that would be, but I would suspect that at least kids going to high school on, like, to help you learn, makes your brain work.
Well, and especially, you know, when you think about refined carbohydrates, kids are the number one consumers. And, you know, there's so much going on with it. You know, kids being in school all day under blue light, you know, they only have half hour of outside time at school.
Yep.
You know, video games and things like they need every advantage they can get.
Yep. And they're drinking poison in a can.
Yes.
You know, not to name any names, but it's truly poison in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I've got 2 teenage daughters, and I mean, I love the idea of something to just help them kind of stabilize and ride that out. One of them, she doesn't drink anything but water. Yeah, like it's
Right.
for getting her to drink anything but water is like, you know, it's a special treat. It's your birthday, you drink a Dr. Pepper. But my other one, she will drink, you know, Dr. Pepper. She will drink an Alani every once in a while. She'll try something. So I'm sure she won't be hard to get on this thing.
Yeah.
But the other one, I'm gonna have to pour it down her throat while she's sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's just finding a flavor that you like. To be honest with you, I have there's a farm that's near here, right, called Yummy Harvest.
Okay.
And I have them, they deliver like wheatgrass to my house. So I juice fresh wheatgrass and a lot of other things, garlic and ginger and a bunch of stuff together that I have to definitely wash down with Kinetic because the shop itself
I was gonna say, you're talking about flavors. I don't want to try that one.
yeah, and turmeric also. I don't know if you've ever juiced turmeric or eaten turmeric, but
Yep.
wow. So it's a strong flavor. But Yummy Farms, they're all about the natural. So, I include like sprouts and stuff like that in there because if you think about that's when the plants are in a sprout, that's when they're most nutrient rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they tried the Kinetic, and she sent me a text, and she goes, "Whoa!" She goes, "That shot was a little tart." I said, "Well, let me get you some other flavors, but the shot is designed to be a quick shot, and it's designed to get everything into you. It's not a, I actually like it. I actually like it.
Yeah.
So,
I thought the shot was good.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited to try one.
Yeah.
I'll keep one of those around for about 2:00 today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super excited for, hopefully we can get these rolling in here. I think a lot of people benefit from them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll tell you, like my sport of choice is boxing. Still,
Mhm.
57, and I started a huge charity boxing event in New York called Long Island Fight for Charity, and it's like the biggest in the nation. And myself and a few of the other boxers started to drink Kinetic in the beginning of the season, and I'll tell you, our energy much better.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure more focus and
Yeah.
it's kind of funny talking about Cletus, like he needs all the advantage you can get. Well, I went down and I did you ride the Crown Vic around, drive it around 20 laps.
Yeah.
And I have a lot more respect for like race car drivers and things because that 20 laps kicked my butt. Like the amount of mental fatigue I had, and I was holding the steering wheel like that, trying to go around these corners.
Light knuckle.
Yeah, and just incredible. I was like, wow, there's a lot more to that than I thought.
Chance to do that. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Yeah. But I was hoping they had some Kinetic there because it was when I was looking for them.
Yeah.
But they sell them at Waldron or some kind of farm store down there.
Yeah, they sell them a few various places where we're mainly could get it on Amazon is really the easiest way to get it, or to go to drinkkinetic.com and you could order it there, and hopefully soon we're gonna be able to get it at Genesis Clubs.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I could dig it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Jeff, do you mind sharing a little bit of your story? You when we originally talked to you, I know you didn't want to. It seemed like you didn't want to mention it a second ago, but
Like what?
your the drink you're involved with.
Oh, you mean G Fuel?
G Fuel, yeah.
So well, G Fuel sold now. It's
Yeah.
gone, but G Fuel was really, really interesting. I was in Ukraine, and my partner Cliff sent me a video of looked like a video game. And it was a contest for kids that are playing video games, Call of Duty to be specific. And you get to fly. These kids got to win this opportunity to fly around in a helicopter and shoot a mini machine gun. There's a training place down in Texas, and these guys test weapons for the government. There's other stuff, but they shot this whole movie about doing this thing, and it was really great. I mean, it was really great. One of the kids that won was under 16. He couldn't go, so Cliff, my partner and my dear friend, really, he was like, "Who do you live with?" So we flew his grandparents down with him. So kind of allowed him to shoot a mini machine gun.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Space. So they were all taken hostage, and they were shooting live tracer bullets and all of that. But that company since been sold. But then they're trying to do other things. I'm not sure where they're at or not at. But that's where that was before online influencers were online influencers, and Cliff really adopted that mode to get the word out about our products, and it really made a difference for us. But again, although really rich in vitamins, I mean, like 19 different antioxidants, so we were like the healthiest thing out there, on our way more toward a Kinetic base, like a healthier energy drink. But the whole movement of energy drinks now is moving towards stimulant free, much healthier, but if you saw it, like every flavor had an influencer.
Yep.
Every influencer had shaker cans. The kids were doing this, the the G Fuel challenge where they poured a bunch of powder instead of the scoop into the water. They would put it in their mouth and try to swallow it. It was coming out their nose. And
Yeah.
anyway, a little dry scoop. Yeah, the healthiest thing out there. And what we did do is parents were calling us nonstop. Like, my kid wants to drink this. And when we would explain what it was, and it was like, about the caffeine of half a cup of coffee, they seemed to be a little bit easier with that. And then we also made one that had absolutely zero stimulant. It was just vitamins. So we had folks that, the kids wouldn't take a vitamin or take a pill. So they were able to get them to drink that. But our goal, at least Cliff and my goal, always was to be the healthiest thing, to be healthier, because we were, I was in my late 30s, early 40s, and realized that the golden years, even though far away from me, were not really going to be the golden years. And that you have to, like Devon said, you have to start now, that window of time.
Best day to start was yesterday, right?
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. We did like stuff like the Arnold Classic. And,
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you, want a funny story?
Yeah.
We'd love more, man.
Absolutely. So we sponsored the Arnold Classic, and I said I was in charge of building the booth, and we ordered the booth together. It was not like, $100,000 on this crazy booth because we're main sponsor, and our space was like 20 feet by 30 feet or something like that, or whatever. It was a lot of space, and we had to fill it up, and we had all the Miss Fitness USAs were working with us, and they would come in and help us. And we had shirts. We had shirts that were really funny. Shirts that were really funny, like, like some of them were not so clean, but they're kind of fact, but like everybody wanted to get a shirt. But as a surprise to Cliff and everybody else, I said I bought this thing. When you go to a circus, you swing a hammer and it hits the bell.
Yeah.
So it's called a high striker.
Okay.
And it is, I'll tell everybody that's listening here and you guys, it is not about how hard you hit that base. It is more about technique and finesse. You really just have to tap it on the very, very front. Yep. And it hits the bell. But when you're at the Arnold Classic with a flow of 100,000 people there, right?
All muscle heads.
All the muscle heads come up. They're like, just give me you get a free shirt if you hit the bell. So, my other partner, he wrote some other things and like signs that said wimp, because when you slammed it, it would go up like 2 feet.
Yeah.
So right before, like, these guys were like the size of Mr. Olympia would come up. They're like, just give me the hammer. And John would go, all right, give him the hammer. And he would hold up this little sign that said wimp right above the thing. And the guy wouldn't even get past it. And then eventually they were like, look, man, how much for the shirt? You're like, you got to ring the bell. And about an hour into the show, I'm like, or you could give me your shirt.
Nice.
So the first person was, the guy's like, look, man, I really want that shirt for my girlfriend. I'm like, great, give me her shirt. I'll give her this shirt. So him and his friend circled around her. They took her shirt off and put her shirt on. So the Arnold, aside from in the middle of our booth, when I tell you I had a 6-foot dome, they would give me their shirt. I would rip it, throw it on the floor. All of us started. We had like a 6-foot dome of torn shirts.
Wow.
Yeah, and they told us like we were going to have to limit it because the line to hit the high.
Oh my God.
Other booths.
That's awesome. The mission accomplished.
Yeah, that was back then. But we still were delivering the healthiest energy. But now, like, no caffeine, no other stimulants, no guarana, none of that stuff. You're drinking healthy, feeding your brain.
Guarana, that goes back.
Yeah, remember when they?
Yeah.
So I ran up. When you're talking about the like running marathons and doing all the exercise, like I had no carbs for like a year, so I was completely my sweat smelled different, and so I ran a marathon. I ran a marathon in Anchorage, Alaska, for the Arthritis Foundation because my mom was having her knees replaced for arthritis, and so I said, if you do that and you don't cancel, I will do this.
Nice.
I'll do that. So it ended up that I brought, back in the day, it was, talking about 15, 20 years ago, I brought two grape drinks with guarana or 3 grape drinks with guarana. And before the race, I sucked down all of them. I was just so nervous. So I lined up right in the front and I said to my wife, if as soon as the bell rings, I'm going to sprint and you're going to take my picture because it turned part onto the woods, like it's off-road.
Yeah.
So you be 75 yards out, you take my picture. When the gun goes off, I'm blasting through everybody because nobody does that. And it's the only time I'm going to be first in a marathon.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes. So I jammed out, and she got the picture. The Alaska Daily News got the picture. I was just like this, like running. And I got 10 feet into the woods, thought I was having a massive heart attack, flopping around, and every single runner passed me. I looked up and there was a girl peeing in the woods. Even she got her pants up and ran. For me, I was like last.
Wow.
So hence no caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing G Fuel kind of pop up. I thought it was such a cool kind of idea because it really was, like you said, you guys were ahead of the curve on
Yeah.
not making it the most extreme, the most crazy, the most in your face. It was like, this has a job and it has just what it needs to do it.
Right.
It's going to help
Yep.
you focus for your game. It's going to help you stay up a little longer for that live stream.
Even my kids knew what G Fuel was, which I thought was funny. They're like, oh, because I bought one I told you there's like a gas station near my house that kind of sells weird stuff. And they still, the last I was there, they still had some G Fuel. But my kids were like, oh, that's gaming fuel. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that part. Because when you and I met, you were like, you play any video games? Like, nah, I don't play any. Never did, Then you start talking. I was like, oh, Riff Raff drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Perhaps a big fan of Kinetic too, man.
Cool.
Big
Love to
fan.
hear that. Yeah.
So
Well, dig it. Well, we are kind of up on time for probably anybody that's got an appointment coming up. So me particularly,
Cool.
I got to pack this whole thing down. So Jeff, really awesome having you in here today. I appreciate you coming, spending some time with us, bringing some drinks to try, and really putting us on this stuff because I think it's really can be a big missing piece in this gym specifically and every other location we've got. I think it's going to be something we're talking about years from now and go, man, remember when, because we see it everywhere, hopefully. So that's what I'm excited about.
So I'm my whole team at Kinetic, really everybody is truly grateful for you guys having us here today. Time is irreplaceable, so thank you guys for being so generous.
Yeah, right on.
Absolutely, for helping us get the word out on this beverage for people here who are trying to live their best life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
glad we can do it.
Jeff, before we go off, I normally ask for like a joke or something, but do you have any advice for us youngsters? You've done some cool stuff in your life, and you've helped a lot of people. Sounds like you have any good parting words for us?
So my whole life is, aside from this, has been raising money for charity. My whole life. That's really what I've done. You know what? I would just say, always pay it forward. Always take a moment to open the door for somebody. Somebody on the side of the road, pull over and help them. And just try to do the right thing by people because it definitely comes back to you.
Yeah.
And if you snore, wear a CPAP. Promise you, it will stop you from having a stroke. So
Okay. Dig it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got a lot of those out there. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
so
Again,
grateful
Jeff,
for you guys.
thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Jeff. We appreciate you.
Jimmy, thanks for lining all this up.
Yeah, short notice. That's good. We have to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dig it. We'll have you back anytime you want, brother.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all later.
See you guys.